Okay, so full disclaimer, the original Matrix is my favourite film of all time. Now, Reloaded and Revolutions were a step down, but they were still entertaining in their own right. And now we have The Matrix Resurrections, and oh how the mighty have fallen. To be honest, I am so disappointed. I should also add that I watched it twice, just in case I miss anything the first time round. Now, Thomas Anderson is alive and well, and he is a game designer, creating a game called The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, and the current game he's working on is The Matrix 4. It's not a great start, is it? Because already it reads like bad fan fiction, mainly because that's what it is. The cringiest scene in the beginning is a montage of Thomas Anderson's repetitive life, mostly focusing on him being in a room listening to a focus group of other designers who are discussing what made the original game so good. Both times I watched this montage, I remember sitting back and thinking, why? And not in the intriguing sense, but in the what were the writers and Lana thinking sense. It's overly meta to levels of beyond cringe. The irony of this particular scene is that while they're discussing what made the original Matrix so good, none of these ideas are actually used in the rest of the actual film. In fact, the film spends the rest of its time trying to justify its own existence. One of the worst aspects of the film is the fight scenes. They're shot up close, so you can't really tell what's going on, and they're all quick cuts. They're not quite Taken 3 levels of crazy, but they're not far off. And considering how good the fight scenes are in the original trilogy, there's really no excuse for how bad these are. Jonathan Groff-Smith is awful. Now, supposedly he's a good actor. I've seen him on Mindhunter and he did a good job there, but his portrayal of Smith is as if someone ordered Smith from Wish.com. He has none of the mannerisms, none of the screen presence, none of the charisma that Hugh Weaving's portrayal. But even with all that to one side, I would argue the biggest flaws in the film are the narrative choices. Things don't make sense. For instance, Neo's transition from the Matrix to the real world is not smooth. At one point he's laying on the table on board the hover ship while the crew are trying to save him. So what does not Morpheus do? He loads up the dojo simulation and beats the crap out of him. Now, I'm no medic, but if someone is in dire straits, beating the crap out of them is not such a great idea. See, the original had a reason for the dojo scene, but this was just a pointless throwback. There are no stakes in this film. No one dies, and there's never really a sense of urgency. A place called Io is a new real-world city, and it's had peace and technological advances for 60 years. Yet the crew of a new hovercraft take it upon themselves to risk all this peace so they can pull Neo out of the Matrix just because. And then later on they risk it all again so they can pull Trinity out of the Matrix. Again, because love, I guess. All in, I consider this to be one of the most disappointing films of all time. It's not worth the watch. I'm going to give it 2 out of 5.